Just what a strike on Syria might look like is still up for debate, but the Obama administration has pledged that it would be limited. Our guest is Benjamin Friedman. He is a research fellow in defense and homeland security studies at the CATO Institute and joins us from Washington. Benjamin, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. The first basic question is, if we do launch a military strike, an airstrike, is our military ready to carry that strike out right away, or what would be the lag time?
It's almost instant. The United States Navy ships are in the Mediterranean. We have both surface ships and submarines that can do cruise missile strikes in a matter of minutes, more than hours even. If we're going to be doing a bombing campaign, if there is any campaign, a bombing campaign would take a little longer because the bombers probably have to take off from the United States or somewhere a little bit further away, but it's close to instant.
Is it more likely that we would use the surface-to-air missiles, or those that might come from our warships or submarines out that are already positioned in the Mediterranean, or that it would be a bombing campaign? Is this a matter of money or strategy?
I think it's more a matter of strategy in the sense of minimizing risk, and there's somewhat more risk when you do airstrikes with bombers because they can potentially be shot down. Whereas Syria has almost no hope to strike cruise missiles launched from ships, and of course they're not manned, so there's less risk using cruise missiles, and they're very accurate.
Let's talk a little bit about the strategy beyond the approval of the military strike that President Obama is trying to get from Congress, and of also taking that pitch to the American public. I wonder what happens militarily if we launch this airstrike and then the Assad regime either retaliates or launches another chemical attack against its own people. Then what do we do?
Well, the Assad regime has very little ability to retaliate against the United States. They have basically no ability to retaliate directly against the United States territory. Maybe they can hit some U.S. assets in the region with their missiles, but they're not going to do much against the United States. So I don't think that's a big worry. Another chemical weapons strike will be a different matter. Certainly after we do one airstrike or cruise missile strike to deter them from using cruise missiles, it would be a little bit awkward to sit back and watch another one. So one presumes we'd have to do another cruise missile strike at least.
Indeed. Are you satisfied that we have sufficiently verified the intelligence upon which we base this airstrike?
I don't know. The United States government is not in the habit of giving full briefings to the whole Congress, let alone the people in the public like me. So I think the intelligence seems pretty good that the Assad army, the regime, was involved in the strike, but what the chain of command was in terms of who gave orders and who said don't do it and who said did, I don't really know. And I don't think anybody in the public knows because we haven't gotten that information.
I do understand that, but of course many of those who are reluctant about this harken back to, of course, preparing to go to a war with Iraq, and we had faulty intelligence as it related to weapons of mass destruction. But let's move forward. Your point is well taken and understood. Moving forward, though, with this military strike, what would be the damage, both diplomatically as well as politically, do you think, to the president if he decides to go forward with this military strike, even without full congressional approval?
Well, it's hard to say. You'd imagine that there might be some split in the Congress as to what to do about it, but you got to remember that there's going to be a lot of people, even if they vote even if they vote for the resolution, who, seeing the president and then lose, their side loses, and then they see the president go ahead without congressional approval, will be upset just because of the principle of it, which is the president doing something in direct contravention of Congress. We see presidents do stuff a lot of times without congressional authorization, but doing something in the face of a no vote from Congress would be another matter, and there'd be a lot of consequences, I think. I think there'd be resolutions to punish the president. They might not fund things he wants. They might not approve various things he wants. So there could be a lot of trouble.
We have received the reports. We do believe that we know that the U.S. military has placed itself in a position, as you said at the beginning of this interview, to be able to make this strike almost instantaneously. Are you aware of any maneuvering that we have done to be in a position to respond to the retaliation? Say, for instance, you said that Syria is not likely to retaliate against the U.S. directly, but they might retaliate against, say, Jordan or Israel, more specifically, or Hezbollah might retaliate against Israel. Are we in a position to respond to those types of retaliations?
Well, to some extent, I mean, we have had for months now some troops and some Patriot air defense systems in Jordan. We have the capability to land troops if we want, although that will take a little longer. So, I mean, the United States military is sort of global and ready, in my opinion, to a fault. So it's not really going to be a problem doing something to Syria if we have to. The Israelis, by the way, can defend themselves. So I wouldn't be too worried about them.
I do understand that, but they are an ally, and I think we do have to consider them in the mix. We'll leave it right there. Benjamin Friedman, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
And you're watching Arise America.